shoulder rests. Today, I'd just like to say a few words about shoulder rests. A lot of people are always questioning, should I use one? And if I do I use a kun or do I use a sponge, or what is it should I use? Well, it's very easy. In most cases, I would generally say, don't use one at all, unless your neck is extraordinarily long. If you have a long neck, obviously you won't want to let your head fall down like this in order to hold your violin, because this would be bad for your neck. Okay, so we need to raise both the chin rest a little bit and maybe also use a shoulder rest. That way the proportion is the same. We don't want to probably just raise the chin rest, because then the violin will feel as if it's far down away. And we certainly don't want to just use a big shoulder rest, because it'll feel like this and you'll feel as if you're very close to the violin. You want to have a good vision and good feeling of it, so it feels like the proportion is right. So for those with long necks, yes, you need to build it up a little bit. But those of us who have a normal size neck, a normal length of neck, it's best not to use one. The reason being the following. If you use one of those kun rests, or anything that's sort of like it, it's quite stiff and it's very high here at the end of the violin. So when you're using it, you really have no flexibility. That means your violin is just sitting there and you can't move it anymore. That is no good for two reasons. Okay, for the first reason is that if you have a shorter arm and you want to shift to the high positions, and this part is very raised like this and is very stiff, then you need to work extra hard. Okay, that's not good for shifting if you have a short arm. Second reason is a musical one. The G string sounds different depending on where the F holes are pointing. I'll show you what I mean. If you play a G string and you play with the violin held up like this, high up there, this is the sound you get. Now, if I make the G string holes, the F holes, go that way, out towards the audience while I'm playing the G string, the sound is completely different. You see, it's warmer and darker. Very often when we play the G string, we want that kind of a warm sound. The F holes to go out towards the audience. So we need to be able to be flexible here with the violin. The E string is a free, very soprano-like sound. So we need to point the F holes up top. This is why some violins, when they play on the E string high, they raise the instrument, because it gives more intensity and brilliance to the sound. But a G string is just the opposite. It's a man's voice. So we need it to sound warm. And so we need to be able to do this to the violin. If you take a look at Oistrakh, he's always doing this slightly when he gets to the G string. Perlman does it even more. Okay, so that gives a better sound. If you have a shoulder rest here that's locked, then the only way to do it is to do this. And that's not very healthy as well. That's not very natural. So that's the reason why I say don't use a shoulder rest, one of those that are really stiff here. If you need something to give a little support, take a little pad or a little rest, or one of those that only is on one side of your violin or in the middle, just to give you a little support. Because if you actually are using the shoulder rest, it doesn't really fix the problem if you're tight, the problem of being tight. The reason people invented the shoulder rest is that some people, when they play, they get very tight and they start raising their shoulder and grabbing their violin like that, and they squeeze. And so we make a pad to push that down. But that doesn't mean you're not squeezing. It just means that you can't see that you're squeezing. So you're not fixing the problem, and the problem is tension. So we need to relax. We need to keep our shoulders down and be free. Don't grip. If your mind is free and you're relaxed, your shoulder won't raise. So always stay relaxed. Keep your stomach open. Keep your torso down, your heart down. Then you'll have no problem and you won't need any kind of help.